number 70. I'm going to be reviewing some of the progress I've made. Waiting for, there we go. Now live on YouTube. Going to notify the socials. Instagram, Facebook. Get people over here. See how long this takes. All right, so got some great updates for everybody. Getting closer and closer, staying on track. Actually going to go through the mock-up and kind of take some of these Post-its away. But I also wanted to say that I have sold 9 of the 10 mock-ups printed so far, and really just want to thank those who have supported me by purchasing this limited edition. So once the real deal is out there in the wild, there'll be no way to get a hold of a copy other than somebody selling theirs in the future, right? Put somebody through college or pay off some debts. But other than that, I also want to keep everybody. Let me just check something real close. There you go. All right, we're good. All right. So yeah, if there's one of you out there that's been on the fence, here's your opportunity to be number 10 to bring the little wish that I had to fruition, to get 10 of these out into the wild as a really cool artifact. But other than that, let's give you a little update on what's at the CROM the Barbarian shop. Of course, you can always get a copy of CROM 2024 collected, which is 144 pages of my 140 pages. I'm going to add 4 pages of my CROM art. Gardner Fox and John Guentas, as well as some illustrated prose. This is all in the spirit of inspiring and motivating those of you out there that would like to get involved with the Crommunity and be a part of the future CROM anthologies. This is a really great place to just get in there. CROM is a public domain character, and I just really want people to go through this, get inspired, get motivated, take a piece of it, and expand. So Jake and I over at the Turbo Pit Fighter, I have printed off a second printing of our second Turbo teaser, and it is available on CROM the Barbarian as well. Still have a few copies. Brutal Blade of CROM number 3 is coming soon. Jamie Barrows has said on the 21st of September. So that's coming in close because today is the 16th. Very exciting. So if you need your copies, you can get them from me. You can also get them from Just Jamie over on Instagram. Had an amazing interview with Jeff Lafferty on Turbo Pit Fighters channel for our Indie Creator Exchange. I have to edit this. That interview this coming Sunday, so next week it will be available. So really look out for that. So it was a great time. Got some extra copies of CROM Collection by Jim Gullett. Super excited. So they're in the store. Sold out on the first run. Got a second batch. And then Scoundrel's Dread, Drawn Sword, New Zealand, Dark Art Concepts, Intergalactic Barbarian, Bounty Hunters. So this is a limited edition, as well as signed and numbered by Drawn Sword. So these are the books that are available over at cromthebarbarian.com. So let's get to the updates. So let's see here. A lot of text has got to be written. Getting some things together, of course, all the CROM and Dravanis, illustrated by Ken Landgraf, is completed. Ooh, I did get this. This one has been updated, so played around with that cheap scratch board and really made some things happen with that one. So that's good. Nothing needed. So I'm going to take these away. We're just pulling these away. This is Adam T. Bennett, CROM, an altar of the serpent. This is part 1. He has part 2 and 3 already completed in the can. So he is marching along. It's going to be super excited to see this whole thing come together. Of course, these pages have been long done. So very, very excited about these pages and how they came out. Of course, John Molina's CROM the Barbarian and the Serpent's Lair. 9 pages have been completed, so that's another one. I'm not going to add another 10 because he has, let's see, we got 10 through 17, so that'll make an 8-pager for CROM Anthology number 2. So that's already in the works. I believe John's out to about page 16. So that's really, really exciting. So I'm going to come back to this. This has me coloring. As a matter of fact, all this morning I've been working on coloring, and I have a lot of updates on CROM Junior and how that's coming along, which is all really exciting and probably going to be a little confusing, but bear with me. Nothing needed for Drawn Sword and Rom Parsons, CROM the Courageous. Really love this story. There's 11 pages, and there are 3 installments planned. So I just recently talked with Drawn Sword, and he is settling in a new studio and living situation. So we'll be seeing things happen real soon. Another one that's all complete. Jason Schoonover and I worked on CROM Dahar. Written and penciled by Jason Schoonover, and then finishes in the inking style that I work in. So really excited. This is a CROM the Barbarian, a little satire from Steven Sonnefeld, re-inked by me. Done. And this is really cool. Lord Dunsany adaptation. By Dean Kotz, so don't need to worry about anything there. What's going on here? Oh yes, The God CROM by Dexter Jones. So this is done. We're doing a teaser, I believe 8 pages, 7-page teaser, and then he's going to give us a floppy, 20-ish page floppy, probably a little bit more than 20, but the story is in the 20-page range. So you'll have an opportunity to get copies of that. There's a little fun Japanese review of Conan the Barbarian. Got to write an article for this John Richardson's kind of artist gallery. Let's see. So this Lala and the Time Machine is done, and I will be showing off those pages in just a moment. So these, nothing needed other than I got to get the actual full color book tightened up. There's just a little bit of here's and there's. It's got to get then an ISBN assigned to it, number, and for the global distribution through Lulu. Of course, get another proof copy of that. So that will be done in the next couple of weeks. This is Ralph Cornfold. This is some pages from his thrilling fantasy suspense magazine. So we had a really great interview. I'm really looking forward to talking to him very soon because based on some of the things that we got into at the end of that interview, I've been still mulling them over, and I want to talk more about them with Ralph. Of course, there's a little place here that you're going to be able to get QR coded directly link. This has been done. So this is all done, which is Rogan of the North. This is from David D. Lanciani. So, and there's like 6 installments of this. So got that going. Nothing needs to be done for Siegfried. And of course, this has been completed as well. You know, all the lettering and some special effects have been added. And then, so this, I think, this is another thing I have an update on, which is CROM, which is right here. As a matter of fact, let me just pull this out real quick. So this is the title graphic, and very, very similar to the one that I had in the CROM and the Warlock of Shardor. So you can see that. So I'll be giving a similar treatment to this, and it'll be CROM and the Warlock of Shardor. And I'm already starting to play with an idea based on another Planet Stories for CROM from Gardner Fox that will then, you know, be material that'll be brought into the CROM universe. So that's going to be exciting. And I have been getting some illustrations laid out. So there'll be more information about that coming down the way. So going to need to do that. And then, of course, do the illustrations from that. Then nothing needed. This is a reprint from a Pat Boyette, which is one of my favorite comic book artists, writers, and most specifically for the sword and sorcery genre. I'm going to do some writing there. Got to add a QR code to Steven Sonnefeld's free comic strips, which are still available. There's 12 by him and 3 by me, so there's 15 CROM-centric scripts, and they're totally do what you want with them. A great starting point, inspiration, motivation, all that. Just download them free as PDFs, and then go from there. Info about the Gardner Francis Fox Library, and then the Turbo Pit Fighter ads. Get you over to Turbo Land, the podcast, and Adam Dodd's inks for my pencils of CROM. So that is a really specific update, and I'm pretty excited about it. And things are very much moving along. So let's get into showing off some of the art and talking about some of the art. Let me just check what's going on over at YouTube. So these are the La and the Time Machine pages. Came out really nice. A lot of exploration, if you will, trying things out. I'm going to repeat, this is a tough story because there's a lot of little ideas I just jammed in here in order to expand upon later. So, you know, when you get to finally reading this and you start scratching your head and you're like, what's going on, Kurt? There's a lot of things going on in this 8-pager. It's on purpose. It's on purpose. So please bear with me. But the art as well is something that I just really wanted to experiment with. You know, thinking about the whole page compositionally as a comic book, and you know, doing a lot of these gray effects for tone and texture. You know, one of my favorites was just loosely masking by cutting out a section, covering everything up, and just hitting. Like this is like 2 slams of a black spray paint can. So got to do the fun, tapping and spritz, splattering, leaving this kind of stuff up at the top. I just love the distress look, like it's an old comic and everything. And of course, working all of these materials, once they get shot printed. It all just goes black on white cream paper for CROM Anthology #1. So this was a really big move I wanted to make. This is something I was really predicting even from the start, was this kind of light effect, and this mesmerizing and frustration that Lala is feeling, being now on the fence, if you will, about whether she knows he's not dead. She just can feel that he's not dead, but whether she needs to go out and find him becomes one of the issues and stuff. So, yeah, here's a little thing. This is a printout from the original because the head was too big in my feeling. So I just literally took a scan, reduced it in Photoshop, just had that printed out, glued it down, and then worked it all in there. So anything can happen. And I do allow anything to happen. So it's pretty cool and pretty fun. So, and then, we're going through it. Halvar's return, which is the guy who was killed and is basically trying to hold a leadership position with the Azir. So another one thing that I've been trying to get in there. So we have like undead people, the Azir, which is CROM's family, originally from the Gardner Fox and John Winter stories. They're sort of like settling down, or they're trying to, but there's a lot of frustration there about it. Playing around with some technique with colored pencils just to kind of show that he's not alive. He's undead, so he's come back from the dead and everything. So, a lot of big light airbrush again. So good fun stuff. And then of course we got Ralph Norlander, who's the hunter who finds a time machine and has what he thinks is going back in time, but he's actually gone somewhere else, which is CROM's world and Lala, and so is trying now an experiment on Lala in order to go in the future, and has aged her through this process, which is kind of giving him hope that he can then get back to the 1950s United States of America, which he does. So Lala throws a switch on that, and then next thing you know it, there's a couple things, like I said, and then CROM, and then this last little bit, I will find you, brother, if I must walk through time itself. So I'm really excited about, like I said, that story being something that I'll be revisiting quite a few times throughout the future of my, at least, CROM. I'm hoping other people will come and also play and expand on that as well. So CROM Jr., here's the deal. All right. I'd have already done this, what would be a 90%. I've already gone over this in past, so I'm not going to go too far into it. And what I ended up doing is I ended up printing out a copy of this at 13 by 19, and then just playing with my paintbrush markers. These things are just amazing. I've got about 4 sets. I also have colored pencils. So, just really wanted to play around with things. I was really on the fence this past week of making, I should say, marking these pages. And because of not being completely sure of what the outcome would be, though I don't really have an outcome, but I'm also into the versions. So the versions are also going to be something. So I chose to not work on top of these pages. These pages are going to go into the archives. I know there's something that's going to happen to them again down the road because I have different types of books in the future that I want to put together. And I really love how this my liquid masking, and then coloring with Crayola washable markers, then going over it with the graphite, water soluble graphite, and then getting this effect and stuff. So this, this like almost it's the thing about it is the airbrush. And so this is also something I want to bring back into my work. So I don't want to obliterate this in a physical. I know I have scans of them and everything. I can go and look at that, but that's not enough. It's just not enough. So I need it to be, kept in this way. So with that being said, here are the 90% worked pages. Get a decent look at them. And then I started coloring them with the paintbrush pens and and some color pencils. So this has become a pretty in-depth process. So one of the things I've been going back towards in my own work is literally to high school. And I'm going to be showing off work of mine from high school and on college and everything as updates go on. And I feel it's appropriate. But one of the things I just keep going back in seeing, and I want to return to because I am in comics and I feel like foundation wise, I was onto something, is I would work just colors, just, maybe penciling something real lightly, just a layout, and then just take markers and color pencils and watercolor. Before I found gouache in college. Watercolor was that. I would do this big multimedia color thing. Then the last thing I would do is this black outlining, because it's a comic book, right? That's what we pretty much see and everything. So I made the decision as I was moving through on this project, already on the 80% skeletal line work, that I wanted to do something color-wise to prep me for the cover that I'm working on. So just going to take you through this, give you a couple notes here and there, but then I'll give you the final what is in my brain and trajectory on the work, and how it might and should hopefully come together. But you can already see, how the laying down of paint markers and then already airbrushy water, all this stuff is there, and then we'll just need tightening. Which is just something, I just need to go through and everything. But I have gone through just basically, red, blues, yellows, greens, and oranges, just going through and spotting the colors and then laying them in, and this is just another layer that'll go from there. And just thinking, I got to tighten this up. I got to figure out how to kind of work there. And they're also, going back to this one, don't really care for this face anymore because and there's a couple of faces as CROM Jr. moves along that then gets to this face like this. I call them the Calvin Hobbes Calvin face. So I've got to then kind of take this face particularly and start bringing that back to these faces. So it's going to be easy. I'm just going to color over it with a flesh color as I go in and start laying the flesh colors in, spotting the colors, and then re-ink, basically when it comes down to the last thing I'll do is just, re-outline, all the entire comic. So, a bit, maybe a lot more work necessary, but at the same point, I'm experimenting because I want to really find my style, which is really just a word on top of technique, a technical process in order to get to something that I feel is me. And people, when they see my work, will recognize, oh, that's Kurt Bruegel. That's what I want to get. So a lot of exploration over my life. I'm 56 years old, so there's been I got into college at 17, 18. So we'll just kind of knock 20 years off that. So I got 35 years of me experimenting and being involved in a lot of different mediums and being trained in a lot of different mediums. And now I'm getting that all boiled down into this comic book style and approach. So, and I'm very excited about it. And it's challenging too. I'm welcoming the challenge. So it's great. It's really great. So, and what this leads to in what happens here is exactly going to be the thing that I end up applying to the cover. Now the cover, I always have this near, is a 13 by 19 pencil drawing. So this is just all worked out. Composition was made in like a, Photoshop bashing, getting things together, and then finally getting this larger composition. And then this is a trace transfer, and then graphite, and then electric erasing just to be able to get to that. Then it's blown up. Went to my buddy Matt Stewicki, very well-known fantasy artist who lives here in Wilmington, Delaware. He has an oversized printer. He was gracious enough to print this out 17 by 22 because I was very afraid that these characters up here were just too small in the 13 by 19. And then my mark making would really lose them. I wanted them to have a little bit more predominance in detailing. So the reason of getting all the way up to 17 by 22 was really for these two characters. And of course, it's going to be able to get a lot of different. But the approach to this piece will be just throwing colors on top. Then once I get to a satisfactory place, I will then finish it off with black ink. Basically, the brush pens that I use, the Fudenosuke and the other bulky one. I don't see any of them around. Where's my bulky one? Anyhow, you guys have seen them before from me if you have been following along. But, this is really what it gets down to is process. And this cover really leads me into a technical destination that will have that hopeful desired effect where people will go, oh shit, that's Kurt Rugel's work, because of the recognizable approach that I have. So hope that's not too off-putting. Of course, I will be talking more and more about my approach in making art, hopefully to aspire and motivate others to just get out there and start making, not worrying about it having to look like, for instance, for me, it's always been like, if you're going to make cover art and fantasy art, and sword and sorcery, it sure as hell should look like a Frank Frazetta. Not that I'm saying it's going to be a Frank Frazetta, but I'm pulling from that space. But it's going to ultimately be me. So, which I'm completely fine with. So with that being said, that is the update. Really don't want to spend too much more time because I do got to get back to work on these pages. As you can see, I literally have only... So I have to finish this, which week from now, the next time you see me, this will be done. So I have no concerns, and I would hope to have some of the cover with some colors on there, so you would have a closer understanding to what I'm rambling on about when it gets down to me being a visually recognized illustrator named Kurt Brugel. So, but really, other than that, it's only been like, 30 minutes? Yeah, 30 minutes. That's good as an update, and really excited. Other than that, I have to also say as a shout out, a lot of contributors already. I think I have about 5 committed contributors that I'm really excited to see. I've also been eyeballing and loosely communicating with some people for collaborations. But as soon as CROM Anthology #1 is out there in the wild, which I'm anticipating November is the zone where that will all happen. Depends on how October treats me. I still do have this large commission that came into my studio, which is a very amazing thing. It's always welcome, but it doesn't give me full commitment to the CROM pages, which is just life and reality, and we just keep moving along that way. But other than that, yeah, we're destined to see things happen within the next month. 4 weeks from now is what I would have to say is what I'm looking forward to having at least my contributions completed, my responsibilities completed. So then it just comes to the point where I had shown off. Where did I show it? Here it is. Well, here we go. All the text and everything that needs to be written to give that final thing. And then I got to get an artist proof copy. So I get a look at it before I say, yeah, it's ready to go. So one of the things I really want people to know is that there's going to be a lot of peripheral special treatment to those who are a part of the community, which means that you have joined the newsletter or have purchased something which gives you the opportunity to be on that newsletter, because I'll be doing a lot of things for the community before it goes live to the general public. So if you would like to get notifications and everything, please go over to cromthebarbarian.com, join up, or just send me an email, kurt@cromthebarbarian.com, and you'll be sitting pretty to receive some special treatment as a member of the community before the general public gets their opportunity to get a hold of CROM Anthology #1. But other than that, I have there's always a CROM 2024 collection, all my work, 140 pages. Get a copy if you need a little startup, player's handbook, as I like to call it. And then if you want to add to your order, there is an amazing amount of artists and their work available. Scoundrel's Dread by Drawn Sword, a CROM collection of the first 4 CROM the Barbarian stories by Jim Gullett, copies of Jeff Lafferty's Berserker Knot, issues 1 and 2 of The Brutal Blade of CROM. #3 is on its way. 21st is what has been said for September. Second printing of the Turbo teaser over at cromthebarbarian.com. You can get a copy, mix them printed, and that's pretty much it. And thank you for stopping by during the live stream, or if you're on the replay. Always read the comments, answer the comments as well. But until then, take care and keep yourself involved in making comics, if not just reading them. All right, I'll see you.